What's up, everybody? Welcome one more time on Walk Talk. And before we start our nice podcast today, stop laughing, wife.
Sorry.
Go. Yeah, thank you. Let the men do the business here. I want to present you my special guest, but before we start, I want to ask you to subscribe the channel. I want to say a big shout out for Otwalk Watch, Monster, Aviator, and OnlyFans. My special guest tonight is no more, no less than Mick Doyle, world champion. And what? Tell a little bit about you. Present yourself, people who don't know you, who you are. What's your background? What you come from?
Grew up in Ireland, from Ireland originally, but I've lived here in the United States for a long time. More than I was in Ireland, 30 something years. Won a couple of world titles in Muay Thai. Was a head coach of the US Muay Thai team, head coach of the US mixed martial arts team, amateur, and I'm a two-stripe black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu under Fabio Santos, Hickson Gracie lineage.
So, very good start, right? He Vegas because I asked him to. I came to him in Omaha once, so he helped me to do a training camp against Anthony Smith. Went really well. You guys saw that fight, and I won really easy. And this time I asked him to come again to help me. I'm currently in Vegas, and we've been working a lot in how gonna beat the next guy. You know, few techniques, sharpening my little holes on the game. You know, and yeah, being very productive. We did a little sparring today, little crashing in my head, but it's not big deal. Sparring Sean Strickland and a few other big guys there. Corienzo, I actually fought him a few years ago, and I was doing a little sparring in Extreme, and it's been a great journey. Have you as a coach and help me and evolving myself, you know, tidying up my little mistakes. So when I get next time, I'm gonna be a different killer.
I have the easy job.
It's a little bit hard, but you know, been working and I've been learning, catch very quickly, and the stuff that I want to understand, I want to understand it, and I'm really happy to have you here.
My pleasure. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. So, what do you think about my next fight and what we're going doing? So
Yeah, I think
just a little bit.
I think there's just
The
some.
points that we are now. What do you think I have to work more.
Yeah, not even just not looking past your next opponent, but just as a professional fighter, there's a certain set of skills that the highest level guys should be paying attention to, and I think in the rush sometimes to learn mixed martial arts, you have to study so much Muay Thai, wrestling, boxing, jiu-jitsu, cage work, that sometimes it's just the little fundamental things that translate into all of those disciplines: base, connection, distance management, efficiency, efficiency of movement, efficiency of energy. A lot of times at the highest level, you're not necessarily going to teach a person how to throw a kick any better or how to do a rear naked any better, but it's the little things that you can
to make it very efficient, right?
Yeah,
Little
efficiency.
details can make a very big difference.
Massive. Yeah, massive. I think we've already seen that in the last couple of days. Certainly your last round of sparring today was where things were starting to come together. Now it's just establishing a blueprint in your mind of how you want to be as a fighter, how you picture yourself moving forward as a fighter, not just in this fight, but past this fight, how you can layer skills on top of a very solid foundation.
Yeah, I think it's the most important thing on the fight level. on the fight on this level, when you get fight the best in the world, is when you tied up your own things. You don't have to really watch much. Of course, you watch what the guy do, what his specialty, his weakness, of course. But some people just focus on the next opponent, but they don't focus on yourself. What your opponent is watching your video and see where and when he can capitalize on your mistakes. So we have to pay attention how I was fighting before and what I can do to get better and surprise him. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. If he counting, like, yeah, he's coming with his left hand very low when he kicks. If I tie this up, like, I was practicing to beat him on that way, but he's not doing that anymore.
You give him a different look, a look that maybe they didn't prepare for. And, you know, for me, I came from an era in fighting where there was no film to watch on your opponent. You were told, hey, you're fighting in Holland against this guy, his record is this, he trains out at this gym, and sometimes depending on the gym, you kind of knew how their style might be, but it was an age before the technology that you guys have. So
YouTube.
It's very easy for fighters nowadays to get so wrapped up in the other guy, and they're not paying attention to themselves. For me, I fought on a day where it was just a little more pure, where you only thought about having yourself absolutely ready and you weren't distracted by things that you saw your opponent do. I also came from an age where you completely trusted your coach. Your coach told you, here's what you need to work on. And like
that's supposed to be even today, you know.
It's supposed to be, but then,
we also want to get a coach or head coach or any coach that's gonna help you. I'm there, pick this guy because I trust him on his experience. Like, he did all of the mistakes and all of the good things that I wanna go through. So I have to trust him because he passed through there. It's not just about fighting, but in general in life, you're always looking for have a mentor that have more experience. So on the field that you wanna try to apply your business.
Yeah, sometimes though, as a fighter, especially nowadays, you look at film or you look at highlights, and then you start thinking about the things you would like to do to this person versus the things that you have to do. And and then when you have, the UFC on every single night on TV and on YouTube and YouTube clips and all this stuff coming at you, you start to second guess yourself. You think, well, I'm going to do this, and then you see something else, you watch it another time, and then you see something else the third time you watch, and then you see something, and then pretty soon you've gotten all these things that you're trying to pick. And sometimes a good head coach can make you narrow in your field of focus and go, no, don't worry about that. Here's what we need to work on. And you keep it kind of simple. Like I said, as an amateur and all this stuff, there's so much stuff that you have to learn. But at the highest level, are you really going to be kicking harder? Are you really going to be punching any harder than you were 6 months ago? Probably not. But the mistakes that you've dragged with you along the way, if you've only been working on trying to add new skills and you've never fixed the thing that's maybe holding you down or dragging you back, then you're only building new skills on top of a weak foundation. And because I work with fighters for a short amount of time, I have to try and maximize the quality of the coaching, work on things that I think can make a difference quickly. So let's see, we're day 3 today, and in the final round of sparring today, things were starting to click. But even in round 1 and round 2, round 3 against different opponents, you were still confident enough to try some new things and you were landing them. And then you could see that your confidence was growing. Okay, wow, this is working. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again. And then the more you do that, the more it just becomes imprinted as part of your the arsenal of weapons that you possess as a fighter. So, you know, I've always, like I said, I came from kind of a simpler time. So my approach tends to be not too complicated. Don't teach a person too much if it's overwhelming them and they're not getting it. There's no point in going to add the next layer unless you have this one good.
Yeah, I agree, because when you have a strong base and fundamentals, when your fundamentals very sharp, you have good base, you have good timing, and you're ready to take a punch, you're ready to move right and don't lose your balance. So the fundamental is very important for any time in your career. You always have to come back to the fundamentals, because you always learn new things. You learn Western, Jiu-Jitsu, different disciplines, and sometimes your fundamental get a little bit off. But if you don't come back to the fundamentals to get your base right, when you punch, where your feet are, where your hips spin, you learn too much new things and your fundamentals getting off. So you always have to come back to the fundamentals to tight up. Then the other things get stronger naturally, right?
Yeah, I think, I mean, we were talking about it yesterday about the jab, how, you know, you could spend weeks just working on a jab and then disguising your jab behind different footwork and different feints and all that stuff. And for me, even all the years I've spent doing jiu-jitsu, like, people get wrapped up in, oh, I learned this new choke. And I'm like, well, you can't even pass their guard. The hell are you know, why are you learning that choke? Why don't you work on passing the guard? It's the same thing in boxing. Well, you know, I learned this 3-count combination. I'm like, you can't throw a 2-count without crossing your feet or without lifting your head up, or, you know, so when you're looking at fighters and you see them, oh, I did this, and they're always looking for the new sparkly, shiny move. But if you're trying to bring those moves in on a bad foundation, they're no good. They're no good. And then you'll wonder, well, why isn't this working? You know? And, you know, when you fight, what the audience sees is 15 minutes or 25 minutes, depending on the rounds. But in those 25 minutes, what they don't see is, well, what we start today at 8 a.m., right? And it's now 8 p.m. So 12-hour day. And we're still talking about fighting. So it almost seems like you're cheating a little bit when the audience only gets to see 15 minutes, but you put in a 12-hour day today. And at the highest level, if you're not doing that, there's somebody else on the mat outworking you, and they're coming. And, you know, they want to be where you're at. And I think that intensity as a pro, that shouldn't change. But so long as you're constantly learning and constantly evolving as a fighter, then you're on the right path.
Yeah, I believe it is, like, fight career is very, it's not very reliable. Like, it's very, how can I say, it's a hard career because it's very quickly, and you can be here and you can go down there, so quickly happen. So it's really, I think it's sometimes hard when starting getting success and keep the discipline and the commitment on, because they start getting money and fame and everything to try to manage that. But if you really want to succeed on this fight path and career, I believe you have to commit until your retirement.
Yeah.
Because it's so quickly, you can do whatever you want after. So until then, you have to forget about go out, holidays, birthdays, Christmas, eat what you like, play video game. Fuck that. It's the next, I'm 32 now. I want to fight maybe 4 or 5 more years. It's the next 4 years. I don't even put on the TV, you know. If I have a little bit time for myself, it's good for mental health. Of course, I'm gonna play a video game, I'm gonna watch a movie with my wife. But the priority, I get home, I need to go back to sleep, take my food, you know, sleep as much as I want, recover. And the other day, boom, it's a commitment and a consistency. You have to be like this every day, not just because you reach the top, you're gonna, if you go down a little bit, if you start to relax, the other guy is gonna come and you're gonna feel on your own skin.
Well, I mean, yeah, you saw it today at Extreme Couture when their head coach, before training started, guys were showing up late and they weren't ready to go. And he let everybody have it at the end of class. And he talked about the discipline and that, you know, if you're showing up 10 minutes late to training, you're not taking it serious. You're not respecting the fight game. You're not respecting your coaches. And the problem with that is that if you do it once, okay, maybe it's a mistake, things went bad. You do it twice, 3 times, and those things become habit.
Yeah.
And those little cracks become gaping holes in your armor. And, you know, as a fighter, you're supposed to be disciplined. You chose a life that's not easy, that most people in their wildest dreams would never even attempt or go near. And in order to be successful and protect yourself, you can't leave any stone unturned. You want to make sure that at the end of every day, you're like, okay, today I did good.
You have to do your best every day.
Every day. Every day.
Best every day. Get early, work on your mobility, your injury prevention. Get there early, get ready, put your Vaseline, everything, warm up, stretching, mobility, everything, get ready. Have your food, take a shower, staph infection, you know, you have to take a shower straight after training. Have to be very restrict. It's a restricted life. It's so much commitment and responsibility. You have to be serious, so serious, because you pay with your health if something goes wrong, you know.
Yeah.
And it's the life career for the fighter is so short. Like most of the fighters stop before the 40s. I want to retire as early as I can.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And you know, at some point, your body is going to fail you. It's not going to be able to.
And then you can't do it anymore.
No. And that's the hard thing. You know, I've watched over the years guys that couldn't walk away from fighting, even though their body was telling them it was time.
Because he did the best when they get the age arrived. He have to keep pushing, but he's not able to do anymore.
Yeah, but if you've done the work all the time correctly, then you should have no problem walking away.
Yeah, when time's coming, okay,
but every day that you feel
shot and everything.
Yeah, every day that you feel like, oh, I didn't run, and those things are in the back of your head. So you're always, because you're trying to put those things off to another time. And then that's the problem sometimes, is when it's time to retire, you feel like you still haven't finished or honored the fight game, and there's still time yet because you didn't do it this way 2 years ago, but maybe if I just take 2 or 3 more fights, I'll do it right this time. But if your DNA is cutting corners, not being disciplined, it won't matter if you take 2 or 3 or 4 more fights. It'll be too late. You have to establish those patterns, those healthy patterns, as soon as you can. And then you don't worry about it. It's like getting up and going to work. It's a job.
Yeah. All right, let's talk a little bit my fighting myself, and let's talk about you a little bit. When do you start training? And
yeah, I started.
How many Muay Thai fights do you have? When did you get your title?
Yeah, I started boxing in Dublin when I was 6. And back then, most parishes, most churches had like a boxing program. And I lived in a very, very tough part of Dublin. And my parents were worried about me, and my dad had boxed. My dad had done martial arts too. So they put me into boxing. But at about age 7 or 8, my dad felt like boxing was not giving me the discipline that martial arts could. So he pulled me out of boxing and put me into martial arts.
Which kind of martial arts?
I was doing, actually my first one was Wado-ryu karate, like an Okinawan. And I did that, I did Bushido, I did a bunch of stuff, judo. And then about age 13, I got into kickboxing, which kind of took me back to my first love of boxing. And as soon as I tried it, I knew this is for me. This is what I'm put on the planet to do.
Muay Thai?
I was doing regular kickboxing, like European style kickboxing first. And then I went to, the first time I went to Manchester, England, and did what was called a low kick fight there, and got the shit kicked out of my legs by this dude. And I was like, ooh, I want to learn that. And so...
That was Muay Thai?
Yeah. He was training Muay Thai. So I started doing that, and then just traveled and fought all over Europe. But in 1986, I had the opportunity to emigrate here to the United States to go to college. And I thought that by coming here, it'd be actually a good thing for my career, but nobody in 1986 over here was doing Muay Thai. Maybe some guys on California and New York, but...
But you moved here behind Muay Thai?
No, I moved here to go to college, but then I had a difficult time. I mean, when I left Ireland, I'd already had like 107 fights. And then, no, maybe not quite 107. But then everything kind of slowed down. So I was finding myself doing any kind of full contact that I could. So I was taking Muay Thai fights, I was taking Kyokushinkai, bare knuckle tournaments, the Sabaki Challenge, the Shidokan, all these kind of famous tough man contests before the UFC was around. I was doing, at the time they called it no holds barred, where you had no gloves and pretty much anything went, just like the first UFC. So I was just trying to find fights wherever I could against the best guys, and ironically enough, after moving here, I was finding myself still going back over to Europe to fight because there was nothing going on here. So my last fight was 1999 in Beijing in kind of a hybrid Sancho competition, the US against China. I was representing the United States. And I'd had a couple of fights before that I lost because of injuries. I was going into the fights with bad injuries, but I was like, oh, I can fucking tough this out. And I was losing to guys that I shouldn't have lost to. But I knew my body was starting to fail me. You know, I'd been doing this since I was a kid. I turned pro when I was 15 in Ireland. My coach lied about my age to fight a bunch of English guys. But, and I knew, okay, I don't want to lose. I would rather lose to a guy who beats me than lose to a guy who is good, but like, I wasn't 100% going into the fights. But I also felt like I'd already achieved everything that I wanted to achieve. So for me, I could leave the fight game pretty easily without any regrets. So my last fight was 1999, and then I got more into coaching and found that I could still stay sharp, stay healthy, and then give back all these years of experience of, you know, not just coaching, teaching people how to fight, but being a good example, being a mentor, leading my life with kind of a martial arts code. So didn't always get it perfect, but I tried to be as close as I could to it.
Sounds good. What's your advice for youngest fighters that they they start their career now, what do you think they should working on, or just general advice
I think
to be a successful career?
If you love training, like if you love training, then the fight is a reward. It's like dessert after dinner. But I think you have to love the idea of training every day. It's got to excite you every morning. Like when you wake up, even if you have a bruise or whatever, you're like, fuck it, let's go. Like, I'll figure out, today will be a good day for me to learn, how do I fight on one leg? How do I not let anybody in the gym know about, my knee hurts or something like that? How can I solve this problem and walk around it? So I think you have to have a passion to be willing to do all the hard work, no matter what the day is, no matter what the injury is, no matter what circumstances are in your personal life or wherever. You check that shit at the door and you dive in, and when training is done, you have a smile on your face. If as a young fighter, if you can develop that kind of passion, then the sacrifice isn't that tough, really. But you have to love training. Fighting is just a bonus. Competition is a bonus. You gotta love the hardship of training.
Yeah. One thing that I would like to say to, I think a lot of fighters need, of course, when they get in the big leagues like PFL, UFC, Bellator, the big event in Asia as well. Like most of these fighters, they are come from very humble place, humble background. They are not very well educated as well. Like I have one of them, and they just get you because you have ability, good athleticism, and you have skills. Okay, this guy is good, and then you start going away and getting up and get good contract, but nobody get them ready for what's really comes. Like people don't teach you how to deal with fame, with social media, with money, taxes, stuff like that. And one of the most important thing is when you come from this background and when you need money, is on the financial side, like what you do with money. Because I was one of them that I never had money before. In the beginning of my career, and I didn't know what to do. I just fucking spend, I didn't regret because I learned, to spend and get no money and then have to work harder again to get. But I think if I get somebody that gives good advice since the beginning, it's not gonna make my eyes bright when I get money. Let's spend, let's do party, let's buy this, If I think the most important thing is for a young fighter that start is to have a good mentor.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
You don't need to be controlled, but you need to be advised.
Yep.
Like financially, especially, because it's a career and it's when you make your money.
But it's a career that could end.
Can end really quickly as well. You can end when you retire and get old, or you can get injured and end it so early,
Yeah. I mean, most people in their careers will think, oh, I'm gonna retire at age 65. Like, you get to pick the day, but that's not the way it is with fighting. Sometimes the fights pick the day for you. The injuries pick the days for you. The losses pick the retirement day. It's kind of out of your control sometimes. So you better have your shit together financially, or have a backup plan. Okay, I've just been told, I can't fight anymore. What do I do now? If you haven't saved money, if you haven't invested well, what are you going to do? You're going to go from being on TV every couple of weeks to stacking shelves at Walmart? You'll fucking go crazy.
It's because you're right, because fighting when you invest in a career is like a university.
Yeah, 100%.
You train for many years, now you have a degree, and you keep training 10 years, now you master. But if you get the injury that take you out for your career. It's like you're a master, have a degree in like engineer, but you cannot work anymore in engineering. What you do? Because, do you know what I mean? Like, I just do know how to do engineering, and now there's no more engineering jobs. It's the same thing that you're fighting and have an injury that you have to stop. Like, you cannot fight anymore. You know how to do, because you master yourself to be a martial artist.
Yeah.
So this is a complicated.
Yeah, and the money certainly complicates it. You know, I also fought in a time where there was no money in it. I mean, my last fight in Beijing was in front of 10,000 people in a stadium in Beijing, and I got $2,500, a first class ticket to fly from San Francisco to Beijing, and about an 8-day vacation after the fight. That's it.
It doesn't change your life.
No, it doesn't.
You
know, so again, there's something kind of simple about that. Now, would I have liked to?
You got something? You keep talking.
Would I have liked to bank a little more money, considering if I knew the toll that it was going to take on my body? Well, yeah, I would have loved to have done that.
Yeah, come behind this one. This is I get. When I get this, then I'm good.
But yeah, I think it's, and there, you know, for you guys to, you do have access to people that can help you. You have managers that, if they're smart, they can secure sponsorship. And
yeah, but I get all of that after hit my head so many times on the floor, no? This is what I'm telling you, like, if you have a good guy that guides you since from the beginning, make your life so much better and easier, no?
Yeah, I think the relationship with a fighter and a coach is like a father and a son. You know, it's somebody that you lean on, somebody's gonna smack you in the hand when you're fucking up. Somebody is gonna sometimes tell you things that maybe hurt a little bit, but sometimes the truth does hurt. And I think a good coach has to be willing to do that. And then sometimes a coach has to protect a fighter from themselves. Sometimes a coach tells a fighter, listen, it's time.
Yeah, sometimes I think I have a good coach from the beginning. He was okay coach, like he helped me and everything, but he really liked to drink and party so much, and I learned that something from that, and it wasn't really good for my career, you know. He brought me in there, but you know, sometimes you need to know how to stand for yourself and understand the business also, because you can't play around on the fighting game.
No.
It's very vicious.
It is. It takes a big toll on you. There's a lot of sacrifice that goes into it that, I mean, you have an exceptional wife, Tara, that completely supports you, sacrificed her own career. You know, a lot of fighters don't have that. And you do need somebody that has belief in you. Coach obviously is part of that, but even someone who's going to understand the amount of sacrifice that you're going to have to take. No, listen, we're not going to go out to the clubs this weekend because I don't need to be there. It's a bad environment for me. It does nothing for me. I don't gain anything. But then sometimes their life, they'd like to go to the club, but they're supporting you. You know, they're home with you. It takes a team. Definitely, I don't think one person alone can do it all.
Yeah.
I think it takes a team of support.
I think yours have to be very careful who you let you in your small circle of trust.
Yeah.
Because this is very important. The influence that you have around you, the energy, the goals that they have to, because just so, for example, like you need to have a strong wife or partner like me, like I have children, a wife, even people single, but just to give an example, when you have a partner, when you have two people, I just told you on the car today, something like this, that they have the same energy and the frequency, that they want to achieve the same goal, you're not by yourself anymore. If you can get there, imagine another being putting the same energy and the effort. to put you there, so the two people
It's
work
like an
towards
army.
one goal,
Yeah.
is so much powerful, you
Yeah.
know. So this is why you need a small circle of people that believe you and wanna make you be champ, make you win fights, make you want the same goal as you. They wanna be achieve their goal towards you. They gonna get success towards you too.
Yeah.
Like your success is their success. They wanna see you succeed. They wanna get satisfaction too. So it's really important to have a small circle. Big circle is fucked
Yeah.
up.
But if you, if the people in that circle want success more than you, then you need to take a hard look at yourself. That means you're not putting in the effort. It means that you've stepped off the gas a little bit. Like, you should be, the fighter should be the one
The lead.
who wants it the most. And then you have a support cast of people around you that go, yeah, this is great. This is going to be good for all of us. But I think it's too easy sometimes in the fight game, and we talked about this too, where you can surround yourself with people telling you how great you are, but then you also need somebody telling you how great you need to be all the time. That person should be you first, but then, you know, a good coach, wife, whatever, partner that says, hey, I don't think you've done enough today, or I don't think you should be satisfied with the way things are. I think it's good to have those kind of people in your ear too, who are not jealous. They're not saying these things because, you know, they're jealous of you. They're saying these things because they love you, they protect you, but they also want to see you not cheat yourself.
Yeah. So my wife gave me an idea today about what a question to ask. What would be your death row meal?
And I said cyanide.
Yeah, cyanide is a poison.
It's
right?
a poison, yeah.
That's not meal.
No, you know what though? I would rather go out by myself making the decision than somebody else.
Yeah, I know. I don't agree with death row anyway, but if you have to pick a meal, okay, don't take a death
Alright,
row.
if I had to pick a meal,
Pick a meal. You don't
would
need to
be-
die. You don't need to die. Okay.
I would honestly, mint chip ice cream.
Ice cream.
Yeah, fuck it. I'm gonna die. What the hell? I'm not gonna have a heart attack. I would have a big bowl of mint chip ice cream probably.
The worst, the most damaged food that you can
I'm
ever
gonna
have.
be dead
You
in a
can
few
give me
hours. Who
that shit.
cares?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know? Who cares? They can pick it out of my bits when they're doing an autopsy on me.
Okay. I have a few questions after in all of my podcasts
Yeah.
about some conspiracy question, right? Conspiracy is something real, but not conspiracy is real. Some of them is really real, but some of them is just crazy and you cannot prove. But it's interesting to talk about it. I have a few questions, so let's start the first one.
Yeah.
What do you think the man land on the moon? Do you think they landed? That was a race between America and Russia who get there first and they fake, or? what
No, I
do you
think it happened.
Do you think it happened?
Sure.
The
Yeah.
American land to the moon.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I want to believe it happened.
you want to believe?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. We don't need to argue about that, but just put a little bit point, like if 1969, if they land to the moon and have a call with the president from the moon, like today sometimes you don't get bad sign, you cannot call your mom if you need
Yeah.
to do something.
And I mean, you know, it is crazy because,
and how they go and come back.
you know,
1969.
you play
Elon Musk for all of the money in the world that he cannot leave the
you play video games.
yeah.
The computers that sent that rocket to the moon with those guys was not even as powerful as a Nintendo video game system today.
Really.
That Nintendo video game system
Is it 2D?
today
Is it
can
2D?
process so much more information and commands than the computers that put Neil Armstrong on the moon. If you look at how technology has just exploded since that event, you know, everything that we take for granted now, including cell phone and everything else, for them to figure out how to send a message from the Earth to the moon is not that much different than technology using to power cell phones and be able to do all of that stuff. So I do believe that the space program, the race to space, and the money that they invested into this led to some of the greatest technological advances in the world. That's why I want to believe it, is that sometimes things have to happen in order for humanity to prosper. And it's not always, I mean, some of the greatest medical advances have occurred through wars.
Yeah.
You know, so sometimes it's ugly, but to me,
Get some benefit from it.
Yeah, I think something happened with that time, and I think that they had made such technological advances that seemed out of this world in 1968 that now we're like, wow, that's nothing. Look what we're doing now.
Yeah.
You know.
What about the 9/11? You think it was an inside job or just terrorists from the other country? This small, short answer.
I I think that America had experienced a couple of warnings that an event like 9/11 could happen here. Some people had tried to blow up the towers before that.
That was the greatest building to be
eyes
on it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's you know, it symbolized a lot of American capitalism and all of that stuff. I don't know if it was an inside job, but it was an epic failure of intelligence, and I felt like the country couldn't believe that something like that could happen on this soil. But I think it was a wake-up call for the intelligence services in the U.S., for people in general to think about their safety and how the world views America.
And because who paid with their lives was the American families. The taxpayer who feed the country is the workers, you know. And
but I think that when you have we can't understand a religious ideology that thinks there's absolutely no problem with flying a plane full of innocent people into a building, because not only will the terrorists go to paradise, but all the people that they killed will become martyrs too. Like, it's very hard to kind of fathom that kind of thinking. I mean,
it's a really horrible.
It's radical, and it's but what it does show is that there are some evil people in the world that can justify, if they want to, and if they believe hard enough that they are righteous, that they can do a lot of harm to people.
Yeah. Okay.
But, yeah.
Maybe the last question. What do you think about aliens?
Yeah.
If you fight George St. Pierre, I think he had some experience once. He saw a spaceship. I saw one spaceship when I was like probably 14 or something.
Yeah, I think as vast as the universe is, it would be hard for me to believe that we're the only intelligent life form out there. You know, I'm kind of like wait and see. Like, I'm sure.
I'm not gonna be surprised if you have been in the next few years, no?
No, not really. Not it wouldn't surprise me. You know, obviously they just had the hearings recently where they did admit that, yeah, we've taken some crafts that are not of this world, and we have some biologics, some tissue from something that's not human. So we know that something is out there that we didn't create. So
I think technology and history, like this kind of, not this but all of the other ones, is power. And if there is something, if somebody believe, like even me, if I see a spaceship, I'm a normal human being, kind of normal. If I see a spaceship in a hike, boom, fell, I'm gonna go there and check, and I'm gonna tell nobody. I'm gonna think a little bit selfish. I'm gonna maybe take a little piece to see what can I get the advantage of this. If imagine I can sell this technology for a big company and make a lot of money. If I think like this, imagine if the government put their hand there, how many reverse engineering they can do to launch products and
I mean,
advanced
again,
technology. Because who have technology higher have power on top of the lower technology, so it's all about power control.
Again, I think that the space program gave us a ton of technology that we didn't even fathom that we could have. If you look at the last, again, I fought in a time where there was no such thing as the internet. You couldn't just get on YouTube and do all that stuff. And that's only in the last 25 years, 30 years. You imagine when your son is 30. The technology that
you're surprised today.
So
you're gonna think that shit.
Yeah.
Because my car bring me to the gym and come back by himself. I just look at him driving himself.
Yeah.
In 30 years, what come to us?
Yeah.
My son gonna say, "You drive a fucking Tesla that bring you there and come back." I fucking teletransport to my
right. It could happen. Yeah. I do. I think that the man's quest to. It's almost like, to me, it's almost like man wants to become the God, the most powerful thing, and I think that can be a great thing for humanity too, but it can be kind of a dangerous thing too. But it's almost like, when will our thirst for power over everything in our lives, when's that going to end?
Yeah, this thing that just said, men trying to become a god, that you never will be able to. And while he's trying with technology, he's the creator creating technology. The creator, God, create us, and us as a creation trying to create something great as well. But
you
the fucking
what?
AI
if
and computer and stuff, get smarter than us and fucking gonna eat us.
If your father stepped inside that Tesla, he would freak the fuck out.
He don't even know how to get out like you.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to get out as well the first time. What is the fucking thing that I do?
Yeah,
you have to press a fucking button now.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
We're walking around with a supercomputer in our pocket. Any information that we want is literally at our fingertips. We don't have to go to the library and look for the book, no, it's just right there. You think about that technology and how fast we're discovering all of this stuff. If you landed back in Africa 10,000 years ago, you would be worshipped like a god. And if...
With this technology?
Not even with this technology, just with the knowledge that you have. We've just evolved so much. It's hard for me to think that if we've evolved this much and the universe is that old, then there's probably something else out there that's even more evolved than we are. And they're probably looking at us like, I don't
even gonna get close to their fucking beasts, because they look what they do. So many wars and punch each other in the face to make money.
Yeah.
They are so much superior that they see us as a fucking rat.
Probably. Yeah, I mean,
I
totally.
think this is why we don't have like a explicit connection yet. They don't show up because they're probably scared of like they just barbarous, you know.
Yeah, probably.
And we think we're evolved.
Yeah, no, we're probably savages to them.
We are savage for them.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But I still want to meet one.
Me too.
Yeah. I'm taking you on a ride on your ship.
That's
Just don't stick that thing in my ass.
All right, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for
You're welcome, man.
for the talk.
Pleasure.
Thank you for coming here and helping me.
My pleasure.
I feel that I'm gonna beat this guy, and with the next one, every time I try to get better.
Yep.
So, guys, thank you much for watching. I hope you guys like. Hit the button for subscription. Hit the like. Comment below what you guys think and what you guys wanna see me doing next. Who you want me to bring to the podcast next. And thank you very much. Have a blessing night. A lot of abundance in your life. God bless you all. Thank you.